Hey everyone, it is Saturday, December 26th. The time right now is just after 1:30 p.m. and the temperature is around 3 degrees Celsius. And there is Steeles Avenue, which is the northern border of the city of Toronto. And just behind me is Centrepoint Mall. And I just finished recording a rather short walking video through there. And here is the Nissan Versa that I've rented over the Christmas holidays. And for this one, I'll be getting in the car and going for a spin down Yonge Street across Toronto, starting from the northern border here at Steeles all the way down to the waterfront. All right, let me get the other camera fired up here. And I think it's all set up right. Fire up the car. I've got the microphones hooked up. Wallet, phone, keys check. And away we go. And even though it's Boxing Day today, this mall wasn't very busy. And it only took 10 minutes or so to walk through it. So this is Steeles, and just on the other side of Steeles is the city of Vaughan. Well, at least west of Yonge Street it is. East of Yonge Street, it is the city of Markham. And there is the 960. I think that's the Steeles Express bus. And now it's south down the west side of Yonge Street. And this is an area known as Newton Brook. And then south of Finch up ahead, we'll be entering Willowdale. And I think this will probably be the only driving video I make while I have this car. I took it up to Niagara to see family on Christmas Eve, and I came back Christmas Day. And I just kind of put the cameras away. I didn't do my usual live stream on my way back or record any videos from Niagara, so I kind of took a break from YouTube. But I thought since I have the car for one more day, I better get out and do something with it, so I went up to Centrepoint Mall. And that was when I got the idea to do a quick video through the mall, and then we hopped in the car, and I think I'll do a live stream once I get south down to the lake. I did forget my wide angle attachment for this camera, so hopefully this still looks okay. And I have had overheating issues with the Pocket 2 recording driving videos, as well as the GoPro, so I do have all the heat off right now. Maybe I'll just turn the seat heater on, as it's a little cool in here. And just on the left is where a plaza used to be that had a Canada Computers, which is now one of the anchor stores at Centrepoint Mall. There was also a restaurant there called Conchi Queen, which I noticed is relocated to the mall. I think this drive should be a little over 18 kilometers or so. I've done this route before once on the channel before, but I did it on my single speed bike. And that was also before I was narrating videos. There's a Go and Viva bus terminal just on the left. And this is where you'll find Finch subway station. So 1 block to the south of here will be Finch Avenue. I don't think traffic will be that bad. Getting down to the lake, I just kind of wanted to do an end-to-end drive across the city. So Yonge Street was a logical choice. Would you say across? I'm going north to south. I guess it's still across. I did poke around online. I didn't really see any deals that interested me this Boxing Day, which is kind of like our Black Friday. It is one of the busiest shopping days of the year. And there's a driving channel called J Utah that has one of the most popular Toronto videos of all time on it, and that was a drive down Yonge Street. Although I think that one started at Yonge and St. Clair in Midtown. So we've got quite a ways to go before we get there. So this is Finch Avenue. Oh, really? Really? It's okay to signal and make your intent to come over, but he actually came into my lane. Wow. There he is, turning right. What was the point in that whole exercise? No harm done, I guess. And the street on the left is Church Avenue, and the street on the right is Churchill Avenue. And we are entering the old North York City Center. This used to be a city of its own prior to amalgamation. And the old City Hall was just up here on the right at Mel Lastman Square. Speaking of Mel Lastman, he recently passed away a few weeks ago. He was the first ever mayor of the megacity of Toronto. And he was the mayor of North York before that. Wondering if this camera angle could be lowered a bit. I can't really tell. Hopefully I just didn't make it worse. And this is probably the most expensive rental car I've ever had. I used to get a deal where I'd pay about $20 a day through my employer for rental cars. But when I quit, I lost that. Actually, my last two employers had that same deal. And then when the pandemic struck, there was a tremendous market for used cars and a huge decrease in the demand for rental cars with all the business travel pretty much suspended. So a lot of the rental agencies sold off a lot of their fleets and closed down a number of locations. And that left kind of a Hunger Games situation for those of us that wanted to rent cars from time to time, especially over Christmas. So this, taxes included, set me back $520 over just 3 days, which is kind of absurd. And if it weren't Christmas, I would have found alternative arrangements to get up to Niagara Falls. And I booked this like 3-4 months in advance. And even at that time, a number of the rental agencies had no cars at all. I was lucky I found this one near me. Although I guess when you're paid $520, the word lucky should not be used. There is Common Auto and some other options. The Go system, which is, I would have to have taken a combination of Go Train and Go Bus, is $15 for unlimited use over the holidays, but I was lugging up a bunch of gifts and I gave a friend a ride up to Niagara. So I just kind of bit the bullet and went with the car. Hey, there's a Cactus Club moving into the Young Shepherd Center on the left. So this is Shepherd Avenue right here. So this will be the third subway station we're driving past. Next up will be York Mills, and then we'll be in the Young Lawrence Village neighborhood. And straight ahead is the on-ramp to the busiest freeway in North America. That is Highway 401. It's always a little hairy riding your bike south on this part of Yonge, or north, because it really kind of opens up and traffic moves a lot faster and you have cars merging on and off the highway. So this is the 401 I'm heading under now, and then next up will be York Mills and Yonge. for the next major intersection. York Mills to the left, Wilson Avenue will be on the right. And you can see the Yonge Eglinton Midtown Toronto skyline straight ahead. That's the neighborhood where I live. And I used to work in this office complex just on the right here. That's the Yonge Corporate Center. And the only good part about working here was it was just a few subway stops from where I lived, because this neighborhood really has nothing to offer. At least not if you're just coming here to work. There's the York Mills Center on the left. That's where you'll find York Mills subway station. And there's a small food court in there. It's not very good. And that's pretty much your only food options in the area. And it looks like they have a temporary bus terminal on the right here. That's a lot that's to be redeveloped into condos at some point. And this is the west branch of the Don River. I'm driving over, and in on the left is a rather exclusive Hogs Hollow neighborhood. I was once doing a live stream through there, and a woman came out of her house and asked me what I was doing and why I was filming the neighborhood. And she told me they had a number of vehicle break-ins, which sucks, but I don't think a guy is going to walk around with a camera on a gimbal casing the neighborhood so obviously. So a little bit of paranoia on her part, kind of like the borderline Karen I ran into in Inglewood when I was live streaming there. A lot of people still don't seem to understand that you are allowed to photograph and record video anywhere in public. And here is Yonge Boulevard, so we are entering Yonge and Lawrence. There seems to be a 97 bus just ahead. I'll see if I can get around that at some point. There's also going to be a lot of street parking to contend with. So if you go in the right lane here, you have to deal with the street parking and transit vehicles, and in the left lane you'll often get held up by left turning vehicles. That's pretty common for a 2-lane road. Although for a large portion of Yonge coming up, it'll be 1 lane, thanks to the new bike lanes that were installed, and I've been quite enthusiastic about them and rather supportive of pretty much all the new bike infrastructure. So this will be a good chance to experience it as a driver, even though I've done it before. And this is Yonge and Lawrence. And here's Lawrence subway station. So the next major subway station will be at Eglinton, or the next subway station period. And the next major intersection will be at Yonge and Eglinton. And then after that, it'll be St. Clair, then Summerhill, then Rosedale, then Bloor-Yonge, then Wellesley, College, Dundas, Queen, King, and Union, although I won't be swinging past Union as I'll be holding course on Yonge to the waterfront, providing my camera holds up. And we are into Midtown. This area is also known as North Toronto, although no one really refers to it as that. And usually things move a bit slow through this area, especially around the intersection of Yonge and Eglinton, which has been a perpetual disaster. And when I popped this route into Google just before I took off, just to see how long it was distance-wise, this was not one of the suggested routes. If I utilized Bayview or Mount Pleasant, or even the DVP at some point, which is a highway well to the east of here, it apparently would have been much quicker to get down to the waterfront. Oh well. And there's a place on the left, Diverge Virtual Reality Playground. Well, it's been 25 minutes so far. I think it didn't take nearly that long to go north up to where I started. And there's a big line to get into this Canada Computers, which is kind of funny because there was no line at all at that huge Canada Computers store. up at Yonge and Steeles. And where is this person turning? Broadway Avenue is a one-way street. You cannot turn. Really? You're holding up traffic to make a U-turn? And here's where we kind of hit a choke point, thanks to all the construction at Yonge and Eglinton. It's the Yonge Eglinton Center just on the right here. And that really didn't slow me down much at all. Always curious when I go through a yellow light if the car behind me follows. And not just the car behind me followed, but the car behind him followed. And is that another? That must be the same 97 bus. I don't really remember passing it. And the next major intersection will be Yonge and Davisville, and that's where we'll find Davisville Station. And that's when things will turn into single lane, as the bike lane will emerge, and that runs from Yonge and Davisville south down to just south of Yonge and Bloor. It's kind of silly that it doesn't go all the way through downtown to the lake, but eventually that'll be coming. And here we are at Yonge and Davisville. Well, Davisville being to the left, Chaplin Crescent being to the right, and that's where you'll find the TTC headquarters. That big 70s looking building, although I think it actually dates back to the 60s, just up on the right. And this is Merton Street, and soon it'll be under the K. Gardner Beltline Park, or rather Beltline Trail. Although it says Beltline Park, I don't know which one of the two is the formal name. And then it'll be past the Mount Pleasant Cemetery and into Yonge and St. Clair. Oh, we do have a second lane here, although I think this becomes a right turn only lane in a moment. So this is around where that J Utah video I talked about earlier started. So we are south of St. Clair now. And just on the left are the Cineplex Odeon headquarters. I apologize, just had to clear my throat. It is getting pretty chilly in this car. And it's not the sound of the heat. That's why I don't want to turn it on. I could always just put it on through the vents by my feet anyways. It's the fact that it'll make the camera overheat. That's the old North Toronto train station just on the left, which is now an LCBO liquor store. And I forgot to point out, but we just went by Summer Hill Station, so the next subway station will be Rosedale, and then Yonge and Bloor, and that'll take us into downtown. where I would suspect there's going to be more pedestrian activity. Although the main retail shopping areas, at least on streets, would be probably Queen West and Bloor Street West, at least through Yorkville. That minivan. I don't think he was supposed to go around them that way. I'll just wait. I had a full tank of gas and I left from Toronto up to Niagara Falls with a stop at Square One Shopping Center on the way where I recorded a video, and I came back. Then I drove up to Centerpoint Mall, and now I'm here and I have a little under half a tank. Although I have no idea how big the tank is on this thing, so it could be good, it might not be. There's some useless information for you. But if I paid $520 to rent this car and I didn't even go over a full tank of gas, I definitely didn't get my money's worth. And this is Crescent Road. Just on the right is Ramsden Park. Just on the left is Rosedale Station. Those really tall towers you see straight ahead, or at least the one on the left, is at the intersection of Yonge and Bloor. That's where downtown begins. There's the reference library on the left, and the neighborhood of Yorkville is in on the right. And welcome to downtown Toronto. We are at Yonge and Bloor. So there's a number of retailers if I were to turn right here on Bloor, including some rather high-end retailers. There's also an H&M and Aritzia. And some of the more common places. There's a Nordstrom Rack just there on the southeast corner. And we have been driving for 39 minutes so far. I would have guessed it would have taken less than this. I'm curious if I could have done it faster on the bike. It's kind of like a slow-moving obstacle course. Here's Wellesley Street. And here you'll find Wellesley Station. Bloor-Yonge Station was back up at Bloor. And the next stop will be College Station. And the kind of retail you see on the right here is what Yonge Street used to be, pretty much all the way up. Or at least up to Yonge and Bloor, but that has been making way, not so slowly at all, to what's pretty much mounting to be a big high-rise corridor. I'm just thinking where I'm going to park. I'm going to need to pull over for a few minutes to take this camera down and set up the streaming camera, if I do in fact go ahead and live stream. I think I'll want to turn left at the waterfront once I finally get down there. Here is College on the right, Carlton Street on the left. There goes some 506 Carlton streetcars. Oh, we've got a car in the wrong lane straight ahead. I don't know if the camera picked that up. That white Hyundai right there was going north in this lane until it figured it out and jumped into its proper lane. And I see a whole bunch of flashing lights up at Yonge and Dundas straight ahead. Hopefully I don't have to take a detour. This is Gerrard Street. I imagine the Eaton Center, which is coming up, will be rather busy today, given that, at least during non-pandemic times, it's the busiest shopping mall in North America. What is this guy doing? There seems to be a lot less lights now, but there's a special constable on the right. And this is Yonge and Dundas. Dundas Square being just on the left, the Eaton Center being just on the right. There's a massive line to get into the Eaton Center. There are capacity limits in place. That's kind of nuts. And there's more flashing lights up ahead. Maybe this is what I saw from way back there. Something is going on up ahead here. This is Queen Street coming up. And it looks like I will not be able to proceed here. I don't know if a left turn is even possible. I might have to U-turn this. Let's see. Yeah, there's no left or right turns allowed. I'm gonna 3-point turn. Okay, so I'm gonna call this a drive down Yonge Street, but it's not exactly going to be just that. Turn right here onto Shooter. Actually, I don't know if Victoria Street will be the best route here. Oh, there's some people getting carried into the emergency room. And they had an officer in front, so something must have happened. And now we're on Victoria Street. I can see more flashing lights up ahead. Yeah, they've got Richmond Street blocked off here. which is a one-way street you can normally turn right on. What is going on? I'd pick up my phone and look, but I'd have to pull over to do that. This was just supposed to be a simple drive down Yonge Street. There's a police car. Turning right on to Richmond. I want to make sure I can get through the intersection here. So the next street is Adelaide, which is a one-way street in the other direction. And I think I have to turn left here. I don't think I can go straight through Adelaide. What is going on today? It might not even be worth it to go back over to Yonge and just finish that last section south down to the lake. So I've got no choice but to turn left here. Although that guy in front of me doesn't seem to care that he's going the wrong way now, down a one-way street. He's going YOLO. Here's Toronto Street. Here's King Street. I don't think I'll be able to turn left onto Yonge. Well, this is fun. No left turns, TTC vehicles accepted. Authorized vehicles and bicycles accepted going straight. Taxis accepted from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. So if I want to be in compliance with the rules, I'm going to have to turn right here. Whoops. I should have known better than that. I'm trying to go south. You can't go straight, car in front of me. Well, you can, but you shouldn't. And here is Adelaide Street again. I'm guessing whatever happened has to do with Queen subway station. This is kind of nutty. Just Hopefully no one's been hurt or anything like that. Although, given the huge police presence and all the emergency vehicles, I would probably bet that's not necessarily the case. So along Toronto Street, here is Church Street. Let's turn right here. You know what, I'm just gonna park here. I think we're gonna end this video. I was going to go all the way down to the lake, but given everything that's going on, gonna park here for a second. And we're gonna call it a video. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this ride down Yonge Street into downtown. I did get thwarted by an emergency. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support the channel, there's links to my Patreon and Instagram in the description. Patreon and Instagram, also YouTube channel membership, and I have merch. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will catch you on the next one.